We are ready.
REDI,
Red eye.
red eye.
All right, three, two, one.
What's up, everybody? Jake here with Welcher's Garage and Customs. This is my co-host,
The 18 wheeling Coda Kid.
and we've got our
Special
guest.
Specials, right?
Mr. Elvie Shane with us today. We're just going to kind of do like we always do and hit it from the fly and wing it. So, first, I want to kind of let Shane do a little bit of an introduction here. Tell some people about yourself, even though most of you already know, but kind of tell us about yourself, who you are, where you come from.
What's up? My name is Elvie Shane. Shane to these guys. I grew up Shane over here in Caneyville, Kentucky, and I started doing music about 10 years ago. My Papa Warren always called me Elvie Shane because that was his daddy's name, so I started using that as my stage name. That's why he's calling me Shane, which is fine. All right, as long as you don't call me Elvis, I'm cool. I don't like being called Elvis.
Well, I have to correct people all the time. They think your last name's Shane and it's Peyton. So
Yeah, it's Peyton, Payton. Anyways, yeah, grew up here in Caneyville, Kentucky, working on semi trucks. These dudes are spoiled because we're in a garage where they work on semi trucks. I grew up working on the semi trucks and gravel. I still have dimples in my back to this day. But yeah, grew up here. Did a lot of stuff in between growing up here and going to Nashville and doing music. That's where I'm at now. Well, kind of.
can you tell us a little bit about? I know times are. I got to see a little bit of what you done. Jake obviously isn't as familiar with you. Uh, I'm your brother, of course, but kind of tell people what you did growing up, and maybe we can relate. And maybe there were some things that were different about times then.
Oh man, I mean the '90s was a pretty cool time to be a kid in Caneyville, Kentucky. I just most of the time my time was spent running around the hollers, Post Housey Road. There wasn't a whole lot to do. Wasn't any kids close to where I grew up. I had one buddy, Adam Lacefield, that kind of lived across the holler over Mount Zion, over Yeaman,
Yep.
and he usually had some a 4 wheeler or dirt bike or 3 wheeler or something, and he would ride through the woods, come over and pick me up. Sometimes we would go ride around, hang out, and but there's a little place called Pine Knob over here. There's a theater over there where they still doing shows over at Pine Knob Theater.
I don't.
think they
I
do.
think they do
No,
sometimes because
Dad says no.
We don't.
Well, I, we would go to Pine Knob a lot. Me and our older brother Quentin. Pine Knob was just right over across the creek, down the hill, across the creek. So there's 2 or 3 ways to get there through the woods,
yeah.
and you could sit out in the backyard. I guess technically our front yard is our backyard, but you could sit out there at night, sometimes on the weekends, and hear the music
Yep.
coming from the theater through the holler. And we'd hike over there, camp in the woods, down in, trespass on people's land.
Yeah, I can
Camp.
remember one time I was like 5, 6 years old, and he dragged me out. There's a foot of snow on the ground. He's like, "Come on, man, we're going to Pine Knob." Well, we took the long way. We're walking out through there, and I'm complaining. My legs are hurting. I'm just a little overrun. And I can't remember if you had a Butterfinger. I'm pretty sure it was Butterfinger, but you turned around and you looked at me and you said, "Here, eat this. It'll make you feel better." And I just remember I hated Butterfingers and hate them even more because of that. I'll never forget that time.
Yeah, we that was the only time we went up where Renee lived at the time,
Yep.
and we hiked back that field behind her house, and we found that old house back there,
Yep.
which I didn't know was back there in the woods, and so once again trespassed a little bit, and but we was just kids, we wasn't hurt nothing. We traipsed around that old house for a little bit, and then we took off over the hillside, and we ended up way down by the baptizing hole.
Yeah, Snake Bridge, and come
Yeah.
out and then ended up walking up that big hill behind that farm there to
Yeah,
go to the lake.
we ended up and we hiked over that hill to the lake, and Smokey was with us the whole
Yep.
time. The
Yep.
blue heeler, 17-year-old dog. Uh, yeah, that was a good time. But that was that was what we did when I was a kid. Just hiked around Pine Knob and around the woods, and you know, I learned how to drive on weekends when Daddy wanted to
Yep.
drive around in fields and have some cold beers, and it was cool.
That's what I was about to say. There's a lot I think that you and Jake could relate about. Jake's a big hot rod guy, as we've told people lately, in Wilcher's Garage and Customs, and I thought maybe y'all might be able to talk about the hot rods and stuff a little more than me.
You got no car right now?
Yeah,
He's got a bunch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got a '66 Mustang, a '69 Dodge pickup truck, a '78 Power Wagon, ugly Vega.
I like a Vega. They're cool.
I do too until someone cuts the top off.
Oh no, that's
It's
bad.
a convertible.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and
I can't. That looks like a bathtub in my brain.
yeah, it's got a Corvette rear end on it too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
It's
Who's the old guy that had the little Chevette dad with that badass motor in it? Tommy Higgs. Yeah, it had a little Chevette. It was bad to the bone, man.
Yeah, Jake's Vega's, is it yellow with blue flames or blue with yellow
blue,
flames?
blue
This is
with
getting
yellow
worse.
flames. It's awful.
Getting worse.
My idea about this is I'm gonna buy a 4-wheel drive frame. I'm gonna put it on a 4-wheel drive and just make it so high so you can't see it.
Yeah.
You just see the big mud tires.
That's cool. There was somebody used to on the way to Black Cat when I would ride on beer run with Dad and Goldie when I was a kid. Sometimes there's somebody that had I think like a old '67 Mustang or something that was on big mud tires.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That sit up there at that house on the right when you're on it. Well, I think it was on the right. It's been a long time ago, but there was an old car that sit up on a big like monster truck frame, like. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Little
I
Mad
can
Max looking deal.
I can remember being little. I think Shane could turn anything. Elvie could turn anything into a hot rod. I remember my cousin and me took off in, what was that, 88 Mercury Monarch?
No, it was a 1980 model Mercury Monarch.
80 model Mercury Monarch, and they told us we could test drive it. So
Yeah, but dude, they were like 10 and 12.
well,
And they took off in my car, and it was a nice old car.
it was a nice car.
They took off in it, and me and Dad was sitting there listening, and it was like, sounds like they just went past the grain bins. And
The grain bins was always the place we got to drive
yeah,
and
you
turn
got to turn
around.
around. But it's a half mile exactly down the road from the driveway, so it's like go down there and turn around, you'll be all right. That was when there was a lot less traffic, and 10-year-old could take the car down the road, but no, so you took off in my car. What happened to you?
Well, I made it to the Gallagher's driveway, and I was like, well, we better turn around here. I looked at my cousin. We pulled up, backed it in there and everything, and I'm thinking everything's cool. And next thing I know, I hear, whoa, 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 whoa. Here comes a Jeep. I think it was it next day? It was a Cherokee or something. Yeah.
Y'all hadn't turned around yet, though. You were still going. You were headed. You had just passed the first Gallagher driveway. You was on your way down the hill to the rest of the Gallagher commune.
Yep.
And I hit that bank, which I don't know how I did this, but
Your tail end hit the bank, but the front end stayed on the pavement.
I spun it around, and then I was when it ended, I hit the bank, and the truck spun around, or the Jeep spun around, and I was looking at them right in the middle.
You know,
of the
kind
road.
of like people do on their crotch rockets. They'll hit that stoppie and whip the tail end around. That's what that Jeep looked like that day.
Bam.
Sat down, looked at me.
I just looked at him and was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
It's just joyride, man.
I got right now. I got a 70 model Ford Galaxy.
Yeah, what's going on with that thing?
Well, so about a little over a year ago, I had a little bit of money, and I was gonna do a full chassis job on it. And my buddy up in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, I think it's Eau Claire, Phil Norval, he got this. It's called Max Build, and they do a lot of Jeeps and like they built this big FedEx overland thing for SEMA last year and stuff. So they do a lot of really cool work, and they do some like hot rod stuff too. But they were going to do the work on it for me, so he came met me in Eastern Kentucky, and we took a 2-day trip and drove it up to Wisconsin to the shop to drop it off and have work. What a cool trip, man! It was like the second day on the trip, we were going through Chicago and the blizzard hit, so we're just cruising. And so I didn't know if it was gonna make it. The tires were showing wire on the inside and the fronts because it's been, it's got a redneck slam job on it right now, so the tires are all towed out on it. And showing wire, it's leaking gas out of the carburetor on top of the intake, everything. But it only had 42,000 miles on it. I was like, surely it can make it another 700 or 800, It did, but we drove it through a blizzard in Chicago. That was cool. We got to Eau Claire, and we were a mile, maybe half a mile from his shop, and he gets a phone call and I'm sitting in the passenger seat. He's driving at this point, and we're climbing this big hill. It's covered in snow, and I'm just thinking, man, we're going awful slow. We going up this hill. It's like, Phil, he's been around. I ain't gonna say nothing. He's got it. And dude, about the time he gets off the phone, he realizes, we're going awful slow up this snowy hill. And I'm thinking, well, we ain't gonna make it. About that time, we were right at the edge of the crest of the hill. Car starts spinning. And the shop's right there. You can almost see it. Oh man! I literally opened my door and pushed that car like a skateboard, and got it an extra foot, and we got up over the hill. But it's been sitting up there, so I took it up there, dropped it off, and then the IRS called, and it turns out I didn't have any money. Yeah.
Don't worry, they give me that phone call all the time too.
Dude, it's ridiculous, man. It's like, golly. So they took it off. So it's been sitting up there. I hope he's not charging me storage on it, because that would be really bad. I think I'm gonna try to go get it here soon. I don't know. I might sell it, but I ain't gonna give it away.
I'll never forget when we took it up there to, what is it, there in Somerset?
Midsummer Night.
Yep, that was a really fun time.
Yeah, it was a good trip.
That's a hell of a little car show for
I
a
wanted
place
to go
like
to
that.
that one. I haven't been
Dude,
to
it's
it
so
yet.
cool. Like
I'd never been till he took us.
The people were drag racing, stoplight to stoplight. No, as long as you're not being completely stupid about it, the cops don't bother you. Everybody in town knows what's going on. It's a huge car show downtown during the day, and then at evening and night, it's just a big cruise. So people are sitting out in lawn chairs for 22 stoplights all the way through Somerset, and
and
just
everybody's
watching
good.
all those old cars go by.
Everybody's good people down there too, because I remember we walked up to a couple of guys that were out there. They had a couple old Ford pickup trucks, and Dad thought the newer Ford pickup truck was a dealership truck.
Yeah.
Dad just opens the guy's door, crawls up in his pickup truck, and he's just sitting there. Man, I like this thing. And that guy's looking at us like, why is this old raggedy guy in my pickup truck?
I love people over there, man. I mean, I moved over there when me and Mandy got together, and it's good culture, good people.
It's pretty country out there too. I love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love that house that y'all used to have out there. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I got that, and then I got I got the hoopty out in the driveway, though, flat black Lincoln Town Car.
You also have a Fat Boy. I do too.
Yeah, Fat Boy's at Boswell right now, getting new parts put in it.
Funny thing is, you got yours from your dad, and I got mine from my dad. Whenever my dad passed away, I got his Fat Boy, and ours is the 100th anniversary. And that's Madonna.
Yep.
What year's the 100th anniversary?
2003.
So yeah, mine's right after that, 2004. Last of the carbureted, last of the good ones. Because I think 2004 it was split. They had part of them was fuel injected, part of them was carbureted.
Dad, whenever he went and bought his Harley, he said, I don't want that fuel injection. I want it where I can actually enjoy it.
Yep. Yeah, Jake takes good care of that bike too. It looks like it's showroom.
I'm gonna sell that one of mine. I like riding them, but I just like having a little more metal around me. There's just too many idiots that don't care, and I'm one of those idiots every now and then. I don't aim to be, but I think we're all guilty of you get a phone call or a text and you look down and just see what it is sometimes. And it's like I've been trying to be a lot more diligent about that.
It's just another thing. It's a habit. We've talked about that previously.
Dude, yesterday my phone died on me on the way here from Nashville, and I caught myself even after my phone died. I caught myself like I would hear something like, and I'd be
or
like,
feel a vibration.
or feel a vibration, be like, oh, somebody, and I'm just like, it's such a terrible habit to have.
But sometimes it's really cool when the phone dies and you can finally just forget about it for a ride like that and just.
I didn't have a phone. Might have been the year before last. Now I got a new phone and dropped it, sit on top of my vehicle, and pulled out of Waffle House and destroyed my phone the first day I had it. And so Mandy and I were about to go we were going on a trip to Iceland, and we had to go to New York before we flew over there, and I thought in New York City, surely God, man, can find a phone.
Yeah, you would think.
I couldn't. They wouldn't let me get a phone, and so I had to go all the way to Iceland for a week without a phone. And I got back, and the insurance was jerking me around, and ended up not paying for it because they said that they suspected fraudulent activity, whatever. Insurance for your cell phones was bullcrap. Okay. Anyways, so I was without a phone for 2 weeks. I wrote to Seven Haver Creek and Appalachian Alchemy, that were on the last
Oh,
record.
yeah.
I started reading again, and that's been a habit that's kind of stuck around. The last couple months, I haven't read.
That's one thing you've always been into, though. You and Renee, especially. The only book I ever read was actually one you gave me, Green Lights,
Oh, yeah.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, Green
and
Lights was a good book.
That was an awesome book for the time of life I was in as well.
Man, I just think there's a lot to be learned from other people's perspective. That was part of the reason why. I love this place, but I always grew up wanting to see the rest of the world, and I wanted to meet people from different cultures and different countries and different religions and people that didn't look like me, and I just feel like there's a lot to be learned from everybody out there. So you get that easily out of
Yeah.
the book.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn around here, but it's not as mixed a culture, I guess you could say.
It's not a melting pot,
Yeah.
which is and that's fine. But I think it's important, and everybody has access now because of our phones, right? So there's really no excuse to try to get a better understanding of things these days.
And the learning experiences around here are kind of slimming down because we're losing a lot of people in our home area here. I mean,
Yeah.
Just in the past 2 years, we've had some really close friends of Dad's, and the family passed away, and it just
A lot of small town patriarchs.
people that built this town.
Yeah.
People that were the ones out on Friday and Saturday night keeping it alive, and we've not got that crowd anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely there's a bit of a dying breed and dying culture going on in small town America and small town Kentucky, and I think it's important to also learn as much as you can from those people. You don't always have to agree.
Well,
But you have to be willing to look at somebody that's 30, 40 years older than you. You can't look at somebody that's 30, 40 years older than you, and just because they have this way of thinking or that belief, you can't think that they don't have anything to offer.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I had a thought in my head there for a second.
It's gone.
Kind of lost it.
There's not a lot of capacity up there.
No,
is there?
not especially when I'm wearing a hat. It kind of shrinks it down a little
Restricts
bit.
it.
But
They're leaving with your hair.
yeah, there. Look, everybody, I'm balding and I'm 29.
Oh man, I got a 6'4", 6 head or 6'5", 6 head. I used to have a forehead, now it's 6'5", 6. So it's all good.
Oh man. No, I remember what I was gonna say. I did want to kind of jump into quickly. Me and Jake had our first basically 2 days in the garage here. Got to hump out a couple of customers, and we're still learning.
Did you say help or hump?
Hump out
Oh.
or help.
Weird choice of
Well,
words.
that's
there,
just I'm used to saying hump and get it. But
Yeah.
anyway, we were able to knock a couple of customers out, and we appreciate the business. So I did want to give a quick shout out to.
Interesting services offered here at the Caney
We
Creek
are a
Garage.
full service garage. So, we are a full service garage here in Caneyville.
Oh,
But
man.
I do want to give a shout out to the customers we had. We had a car, we had a pickup truck, and we ended up with a wood chipper.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to get that one figured out. But
It's cool, man. Obviously there's gonna be a little bit of learning curve to things, and just gotta remember to stay patient.
yeah,
Be fair to people. Charge them. This is a small community, and everybody's gotta make some money. People don't expect you to go broke.
Yeah.
But you gotta.
well, we found out real quick that it
You don't hammer on
definitely
a castle nut.
that, and it takes a lot of money to turn the money that you need to turn to replace those bills at the parts
Oh,
house.
dude.
But
Everybody, and it don't matter how long you do it. If you come across something new, you're gonna do something. You're gonna screw up and do things wrong.
yeah, we're
way, and
gonna
it's be a
bend
little
a
harder.
hydraulic press jack and mess
How-
up the threads on a
Wait a minute.
castle nut.
You bent a hydraulic press
see
jet?
it?
Yeah, it's
Where?
You see where the bracket's supposed to be down over there? See where it's bent upward?
Which one? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
How,
We
does,
done flipped
how
it.
does one do that?
We was pressing a ball joint out.
well, and we were also trying to use old
ball joint.
rotor that had no, it was a wheel bearing. Wasn't that
Yeah, we was trying to push
the,
wheel bearing.
yeah,
out.
the wheel bearing out.
Oh.
But we were using rotor that we had cut the center out of and mounted it on a couple of pieces of angle steel. And
Well, there's gonna be. It sounds like there might be some learning curves, some broken bones along the way, but I think y'all get there.
well, it is what it is. But uh, you got anything new coming up you want to announce? Well, I know we don't have the biggest following here, but anything to help get your name out's what we're trying to do. I know you kind of switched up the direction you were in. I don't know if you want to get into all that, but
I mean, man, I'm just kind of chilling. I'm focusing on writing songs more right now, spending time with my family. Um, I've got other things that I enjoy doing, other forms of writing that I'm working on, other ways to share. I think during Damascus, the last record I put out, I called it Damascus because I felt like I was on this road to enlightenment. And not only was I going to be enlightened as to what direction I was going to go with my music, but people were going to be more enlightened for what I'm about and what I do. And in the process of writing Damascus, um, I got to kind of be acquaintances with one of my heroes, Steve Earle, and he we were writing one day, and he was telling me this story about a song, and I was like, I told him this song is what made me really love your music when I was a kid, because I was like, oh, that guy's just like me, and he said, well, buddy, that ain't me, and I was like, well, wait a minute, don't ruin it for me, but what he said turned it around in such a beautiful way for me, and helped me to approach my music differently. He said it was someday. And he said, because I worked at a filling station,
yeah,
when I was a kid, and it's like that. It says I'm working at a filling station on the interstate, pumping gasoline, checking out state plates and stuff. And I was like, I really related to that. He said that, I might get the story a little wrong, but basically they were going down the road in a van one night, and they were having some trouble out of the van. They pulled off the interstate, and all the lights were off at this service station, but there was some kid in the garage working on an old '67 Chevy. Said that kid turned the lights and the pumps back on, got him some gas, got him fixed up, back down the road, and he got going down the road, and he thought, man, I wonder what it's like to be that guy, and he
yeah,
started writing that song. So I'd always just been writing my stories, and then with Damascus, I started thinking about other people, started thinking about my buddy that's, serving time in prison, and uh, people, I've had my struggles with drugs and stuff in the past, but uh, there's people that have had much harder struggles than but I was able to, kind of reach into that, and also like Appalachian Alchemy.
yep.
I was around in the late '90s, early 2000s to see, how
That sounds
meth
a lot
kind of.
more real than I think people realize too.
I mean, that's just
I
it.
love that song.
I
I do too.
I sent that one over to Steve, and he said, "Well, the recipe's right." I was like, he's got a song too about it, but I just started writing about other people so much that I learned that what I really love is other people's stories. So I'm kind of tired of being in the spotlight right now.
Yeah.
It's always been the Elvie Shane show. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I tried to make it the Elvie Shane show.
I will say one thing. I don't know if you feel this way or not, but with some of the changes you've made and stuff, and just taking kind of a step back, I feel like you're more mellowed out. You're kind of
Yeah.
figuring out who you are and where you want to be, and you don't have the weight of everything on you. I know the last time you were in, we had a pretty good little conversation after we got settled in and stuff, and and then you come over for Christmas at the house, and that was like the first time I actually got to see you, even though there was some drinking involved. It was still,
I just had a couple glasses
yeah,
of wine.
it was still like one of the only times I've seen you kind of just like
Yeah.
mellow out.
Yeah, I wasn't
And
hammered
have
or nothing.
fun.
I was just chilling, having a couple glasses of wine. But yeah, I mean, back in October, I pretty much, I stepped away from the industry for the most part. I still have a publishing deal, which pays me to write songs for myself and other people. I still plan on putting music out too.
Yep.
But I've really fallen back in love with country music, and I feel like it's been. I hate to be this guy, but I just feel like it's been adulterated, or
Yeah.
adulterated,
We've
whatever
had
the word
that
is.
thought
But
before.
for so long, and it's it's like there are some people out there that are doing what people would call country
Hmm.
music, and also I feel like people should be able to do whatever they want to. But I there's just this kind of sad, lonesome '90s country vibe that I miss hearing, and I
Yep.
don't hear it a lot. And I would, I just kind of want to be part of sharing that sound with people these days. And then next time I put music out, it might be something completely different. But that was something that frustrated me about the music industry is like everybody's always telling you you gotta have this brand, you gotta have this thing, you gotta. And I was like, dude, I've been bouncing all over the wall since my feet hit the floor. To
Yep.
try to tell me to come up with one thing is like trying to
Yeah, I
tell the
can
sky to be the ground.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen.
I can remember being little and waking up in the morning in our whitey tidies and being in the living room of mom and dad's house with a little clip-on amp and a electric guitar, doing some Lithium by Nirvana, and then next thing you know, he'd be singing a song that you're thinking, is this guy all right? But it was just like the genres of music, they all kind of mixed and mingled for you, and that was one thing. Some of and even some of your older stuff that you wrote, like there's a song, I don't know if you care for me to say it, but there was a song that you wrote that was on a CD you gave a couple of your friends and family. But Here I Stand,
Yeah,
and that song just is like a gut punch song, man.
yeah,
It's kind of like a triumphant song, but and I always loved it. So you
yeah.
definitely are versatile.
Like each album's gonna tell a story of how you are during
That
this.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point,
Yep.
right? It's like when my friend Jan, she really explained it well to me the other day because I was telling her I was like, everybody's always looking for this cohesiveness, and I just don't have it. And she said, well, I see it. She said I think when I listen to Backslider, I see a teenager, somebody you know, coming of age, you know, and then like with my boy, it's just starting to step into maturity,
Yep.
and then she's like, I listened to Damascus, and I hear, somebody in their 20s getting in the workforce for the first time, learning about struggle for the first time, temptation, real temptation out in the world for the first time. And she's like, then I hear the stuff that you've been posting online lately, and I see somebody that's a grown man with family and experience and has some wisdom about him and stuff. And I was like, well, that's awesome. That I wish other people would see
Yeah,
it
the
that way.
music's growing with you.
Yeah, so I have no interest in doing one thing, dude. I would love to put out a blues record. I'd love to put out an R&B record. I'd love to put out a gospel record. I don't want to, I don't want to. I just want to put out music that makes people feel
Yep.
something. So I'm gonna put music out. Long story short, I'm gonna put some music out this year, um, and things have changed so much in the industry. I believe I'm pretty old school in the way that I believe that you can still go out and play clubs, 150 cap rooms, and build it from that. And I'm not saying that that's not possible these days. It's just that there's people in the industry and companies within the industry, and they have to make money too. And there's no money for those companies to be made in those smaller rooms anymore. Um, because especially if you're only selling 15, 20 tickets.
Yeah.
So everybody's got to make money, and there's a weird thing we need to figure out right now, or we're going to start seeing these clubs kind of fall into the wayside, and that way of growing fall into the wayside. But also, it's like I hate this thing, and I hate social media so bad. But I was like, man, I miss my family. You know, I'm kind of strung out from being on the road right now, and I have a club right here all the time that I
Yeah.
can, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can come and see me play music. So I started approaching it that way and up my game with my content, with video and audio and stuff, and people seem to be really enjoying it. I've been getting a better response out of stuff.
Yeah, your new setup you got's definitely awesome.
There's this new thing that people are doing. I'm thinking about doing it. I don't usually like to ask people to pay for anything, but there's this new. It's called Grouped, I think, and you people can charge you. I think you can like set the price as the artist. It's free for the artist, but you can set a price for like $4 a month. It's like $3.99 a month. You can sign up for an artist group page, and you get exclusive content like maybe like early releases
Yeah.
to songs. You get like
Kinda
instead of
like a
going
fan
live
club.
for free on TikTok and stuff, you know, like we got to make money too, and
Mhm.
we're running out of ways. You're running out of ways to make money as an artist unless you have like bazillions of views, you know. And then there's people out there right now that can have one song blow up and they're making 30, 40, $50,000 a night.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
it's
crazy.
insane. So, you know, the little guys like myself, you know, if there's a couple thousand people that are willing to pay, you know, $4 a month to come and see some exclusive content, hear some new songs early, stuff like that, then that can help pay the bills and help pay for some recording, you know,
Yep.
because recording costs is
Yeah.
expensive. You're talking about,
I've been there and watched you do that and
yeah,
had to figure out ways to make it happen. I'll never forget. There was about a span of 3 or 4 months where I was in Nashville with you. It seemed like every day of every week, and you was taking me around, showing me the ropes and stuff. And it's a grind, even for an outside person looking in. It is a grind.
it can be for sure. There's you know, when guys are coming up together too, you can get music recorded pretty cheap, but you know the guys that I like to make music with, they put in their time and their years and
Hmm.
paid their dues, and it's like I feel like they should get paid what they're supposed to get paid, and they do too, you know.
Yep.
So it's like we've been at this for 10 years now, so it just, you know, when you're working with people that have been working that hard and got families to support, it becomes a little bit more expensive.
You've
So,
always seemed to be able to keep a pretty good team and stuff, just like Oscar and them.
oh
Like,
dude,
I,
I've been so
Oscar is
blessed.
awesome, and I know he helped you and you help him and things like that. And
I
then,
don't know how I help him, but he sure helps me. But he, yeah, man. But Oscar, I mean, I don't even want to start naming them because there's so many people that I've
yeah,
just been really blessed to have a great group of guys and girls around me for the last 10 years. And even, you know, when I stepped away from the greater part of the industry back in October, all those people I still talk to them that and love them and cherish their opinions and everything. It's just that things had just kind of went away to where it wasn't really, it was beneficial for me to have all these people around me, but it wasn't really mutually beneficial at
yeah,
that point, and I had no idea what I was really trying to do at the moment. So I just was like, hey, you know, you guys are kind of putting a lot of time and effort into something that's not really nailed down right now. So, but I feel good, dude. I'm pretty much at peace, and I've been I've just been writing a lot, been doing a lot of photography stuff and
yep.
learning about camera and film and
Yeah, he
driving.
has a wild way of getting emotion out of people for a photo shoot. Let me tell you, it had me crying within about 15 seconds, and I was trying to be tough, but
I was just asking you questions.
yeah,
Uh, well, that's something that that's part of the thing is like I don't want to be in the spotlight as much right now or you know anymore or whatever. I don't know where I'm headed, but I like telling other people's stories, and I've really fallen in love with seeing photographers that can really capture like when you see a picture that makes you choke up a little bit, like that's
hmm,
crazy to me.
Yeah.
That
yep,
just looking at something is like, whoa, man, you know. So I, when I'm taking pictures of people now, I like to just get into real conversation and like you know, Dad didn't cry, pansy, but uh, but I got a good laugh out of
yeah,
him. You know, that was real, and you know, it's like so whether it's you know laughing, crying, you know, mad at me for what I ask you, whatever it is, I wanna get that picture that shows me like something
yep.
real in your eyes. You know,
Capturing the moment.
you do photography as well. So what kind of cars,
Yeah,
weddings,
mostly
what?
cars.
Yeah.
I don't like doing weddings, but cars and stuff. Uh, I I actually bought my camera for my Harley.
Mhm.
Whenever I cleaned it up, the iPhone picture glare from the chrome.
Yeah.
So I bought an actual nice camera. Started using it.
That was a subtle flex,
Yeah,
by the way. The glare from the
yeah,
chrome.
yeah. And um,
Oh man.
they I started going to car shows, taking pictures. Next thing you know, I've got a job down at the Kentucky Motor Speedway taking pictures
Yeah,
of the cars at the track.
that's cool.
And I took some sketchy photos. I'm like, when you got cars running 100 plus
Yeah,
at you and you're hanging over a wall trying to get this perfect
yeah.
shot, I done it. Yeah, that's what I came over here just a couple weeks ago.
About 2-3 weeks ago, probably.
I caught them working, and I started taking pictures and everything, and those scratchers like, don't take no damn pictures of me.
He loves it though. Dude, I got a buddy named Taylor Licklitter. He's got an account.
Did you say Taylor Licker?
No. Sorry, Taylor. It's Licklitter. I think that's pronounced right. Sorry if it's not. But he's built a really cool life for himself, shooting IndyCar races and go-kart races and stuff. And he's got a page called Stay Real Media, Stay REEL on Instagram if anybody wants to check out stuff. But talked to him last year, and he invited me down to Birmingham. I can't remember the name of the motor speedway down there in Birmingham right now. I believe it starts with a D. Big, awesome track. But anyway, I went down there for IndyCar race and shot it on film, and on 35mm film. And dude, you talk about crazy. It's like, and I didn't know what I was doing. I seriously thought there was at no point in time going to be a picture that came back from the lab that was actually going to be a picture. But I was setting my shutter speed really high, and I was like just tracking the cars as they came by, and the pictures came back really cool, and it was like blurry background, but the cars are in focus, and it was, and all those old dudes that were there shooting with their big 600mm lenses and their new Sonys and stuff were stopping me. It's like, dude, are you shooting film? They thought it was so cool that I was shooting an IndyCar race with film. But then I left. I've got a little Leica M3 from 1950 or 1960, 21mm lens on. So I went in the pits and I just started doing like kind of like street photography in the pits. You got some of the coolest pictures I've ever taken in that situation. It's a lot of fun. The portrait stuff was something I was never really interested in, and then I saw one of those pictures that made me be like, whoa, wait a minute, and I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. So I started with my daughter. I got this light set up in my room for videos, and I just bought this. I quit doing film because it's too expensive. I mean, it's $300 every time you go in the lab. So for 5 times at the lab, I could buy a real decent, digital camera. I bought a little Fujifilm X-T5. I hated it the first 5 days I had it, and I took it to Texas with me on a duck hunting trip. And oh my God, I love this camera. So now I started doing this portrait stuff with my daughter and my wife and our roommate, DB, that used to format for me. He lives upstairs, so maybe there's something to this. And then last night, dude, I think I got the best picture for sure.
Yeah, there was some awesome
I'm
ones.
really in love with a few of those pictures. But it's cool, man. It's a cool way to express yourself and just like I took a picture. I was looking at a picture of something I'd taken. Can't remember what it was, but I was showing Mandy, and I was like, "That's not even there no more." It's like, oh, so now I have this, And then I showed Kelsey, Brandon's wife, a picture that I took of you last night, and she's like, it won't be long. Your brother's he's gonna look so different, And
People tell me every day I look different, and it's wild because I guess you don't realize it being yourself and looking at yourself. But
I really wish that I would have
crazy.
been into it when I was younger, because I would love to have this quality portrait of my grandparents, and friends that I've lost and stuff.
See, my sister and all that, whenever I got into it, we started taking family pictures and stuff. I had to learn how to do it. And actually, I'm sure you know him, Dakota knows him, Sammy, my cousin Sammy Mashburn. He taught me a lot. He does a lot of the pictures around here through the fair and all that. He goes around and takes a lot of them pictures. And I remember going over to him, like, hey, what do I do? He's like, I've got this big fancy camera. I'm like, what do I do?
Dude, the fancy cameras get in the way sometimes, because that's the thing about film. I think it was because I've bought digital cameras before that have all the things, and I hated taking pictures because I didn't know what to do.
Made it so complicated.
When I stripped down to the film camera, you got to worry about 3 things, And so I learned that through shooting film for a few years. And then now I grabbed this camera, and I bought the Fujifilm X-T5. I got it because it has it's very much like an old SLR, and it's all the dials or the settings, the aperture, and everything. And now I'm like, okay, I know this thing can do all this stuff, but but all I'm worried about is these three things to capture an
Yep.
image.
And that's how Sammy pretty much showed me it too. He's like, you can worry about all this stuff, but just worry about this. And he just kind of like just cut me down to where it was. He said, play with your manual settings. And truth be told, a lot of people they sat there and whenever I shot at the track, they're like, how do you keep up with your manual settings? Because your ISO and all that,
Yeah.
the whole time you're shooting, the sun is coming down.
Yep.
So it's constantly changing. I said, don't worry about it. I said, put your camera in sport mode or auto.
Yeah.
I said, then just worry about your other settings there, and that helps it out.
Yeah, and with digital, you get a lot of forgiveness with your ISO in particular, because you can expose, overexpose, and correct post. But that this lens, I got this really cool. You ever heard of TT Artisan, little cheap lenses? I got this $64 lens, man, and I've got an $800 lens too, and I take a few on the $800 lens, and I'm just like, this ain't it. You put that $64 TT Artisans lens on there. It's a 25mm f2, and it takes the coolest portraits. It doesn't really distort, because when you get wide like that, you get the bubble face sometimes and stuff. It doesn't really distort. It really captures a really cool, real looking image of with doing headshots and stuff. But it's wide enough that you can back up and get a little scene in if you want to too. And it's only 9 inches. Like I believe. You get 9 inches of focus out of it as well. So.
See, I mostly shoot with my 50mm, and it's a f1.4 or something like that.
I love a 50mm. That's what that other lens is.
Yeah, and I shoot it a lot. And I love how you can get the vehicles focused and the background. You can just get it just blurry enough.
Bokeh, yeah. Yeah, they say a 50mm is closest to the human eye, like representation of what we see, like from here and here.
Everything.
Yeah. But I've also heard people that love 33mm say the same thing. So I don't know. Who knows? But
It's also crazy what you can do with an iPhone nowadays too, or a Samsung. Or
it
anything.
is. You can do a lot of really cool stuff, especially with video with an iPhone. But I think the bokeh is what does it for me with having the digital camera now. Is that I'm able to, open up my aperture a little bit and focus, like for my videos on Instagram stuff. I'm able to focus on me and my guitar, and the background is just a little blurry that it's not distracting, but there's interesting stuff in the background.
There's always one thing in your new post, your setup you have, and I believe there's a picture or a book or something you have in the background. It's got Jack Nicholson's face on it.
Yeah.
I see
And
it
that
all the time.
always stands out to me for some reason. That's like, that's just like I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool the way that you set it up like that.
It says, I didn't even aim to. I just put it in there on the desk one day, but it's Jack Nicholson smoking a cigar, and underneath it says, I am who I am. Your approval isn't needed.
Yeah, that's pretty
like
cool.
that.
Jake, do you got any questions for him? Anything?
No, I'm just fangirling over here.
Well, I know we had spoke about it earlier, and if you're up to it, we're gonna kind of me and him get out of here for just a second and let you close us out with a little tune here.
Yeah, guitar's right over there.
I know you I probably know you got to get back on the road here before too long, so.
I'm gonna go see Mama and let ZJ see Mama and
Do you
go
want
take
a stool or you want a chair?
I'll just use the chair. Go take a couple pictures of Mama before I leave.
All right, guys.
Sorry.
Elvie Shane.
Wow, that's not too bad actually. Hey, where do we go? Days when the rains came down in a hollow, playing a new game, laughing and running, hey,
that's gonna be the show for the day. Appreciate you stopping in and doing
Yeah.
this with us, man.
Don't touch
Thank
me.
you. All right. I'll kiss him here in a minute. Anyway, appreciate you stopping in.
Yeah.
Wish nothing but the best for you. And
Thank y'all for having me.
I'll let Jake do a little bit of a little bit of an outro here, and then we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Make sure you check out our page.
ARE page. That's how we say it around here.
Yeah.
On TikTok, Welter's Garage and Customs, Coda Kid, same thing on
Elvie Shane
Instagram.
Music here on
and Elvie
TikTok
Shane.
and socials.
Hey, appreciate you guys.
Thanks for pulling up a seat to the liars table. We'll see you next week.
Everybody gonna be talking like us now. Everybody watch this whole thing. They gonna be. They ain't no OURs out there anymore.